Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Thursday, July 31, 2025 and I am Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Ward Ahmed and we've got a packed show for you today. First up, Anthropic is in talks to raise $5 billion at a $170 billion valuation. The CEO has acknowledged a shift on Gulf funding, and PwC has appointed Riyadh Al-Najjar to the global board after its Saudi banned shakeup, and the UAE Media Council has launched a mandatory advisor permit for content creators. And finally, Alabbar-led Americana earnings climb despite its higher tax burden.
And the very first story today is very important because we've reported on so much, whatever Anthropic CEO said. We'll tell you the details. But now it's clear Anthropic, the AI startup founded by former OpenAI employees, that's the most important part of this story. They worked at OpenAI, launched ChatGPT, and then they made their own company. They are in advanced talks to raise $5 billion in a funding round led by Iconic Capital, which would value the company at $170 billion. That's nearly triple its $61.5 billion valuation from just 4 months ago. So 4 months ago, they were at $65.1 billion. Now they're at double, more than double, I think, nearly triple valuation. And this is all reported by Bloomberg and Financial Times in separate stories because they quoted separate sources.
So the round may include sovereign wealth funds from the Gulf and Asia, including Qatar Investment Authority, according to Bloomberg, Abu Dhabi's MGX, and Singapore's GIC. Existing investors like Amazon and Lightspeed are also in talks to participate. Now, Iconic is expected to contribute around $1 billion. Now, Majid, why is it always bad people that are winning? And I say this because he called Gulf investors bad people.
And now he's winning. But yeah, it happens. This would mark a major shift in Anthropic's funding strategy. If you look at it, the company had previously steered clear of Middle Eastern investment over ethical concerns. I remember it was the Saudi investment. Saudis wanted to invest in them. But they said, oh, we have ethical concerns. But now they don't. But in a recent memo to staff, CEO Dario Amodei admitted no bad person should benefit from our success. And it's a difficult idea to uphold. That's what he said.
Now, he acknowledged such funding may enrich dictators in a completely unacceptable leaked memo that Wired revealed, but rejected it outright could limit growth. Now, Anthropic's annual reoccurring revenue has jumped to $5 billion, and the company is targeting $9 billion by year end, highlighting its urgent need for compute-heavy expansion.
And if finalized, this funding round would make Anthropic the third most valuable private tech company in the world, behind only OpenAI and SpaceX. OpenAI, Sam Altman is the head, SpaceX, Elon Musk, both of the guys who actually started OpenAI. Very interesting. And signals a turning point in how global capital is shaping the future of AI. And throughout the two stories, if you read the Financial Times and the Bloomberg story, it's very interesting. They also talk about the sovereign wealth fund money going into these startups. And I was very intrigued by the idea because according to these publications, every big person who is doing something AI, they're not going to private investors, they're not going to venture capitalists, they're not going to anyone with money, they're going to sovereign wealth funds. I think one and only reason that sovereign wealth fund have a big tranche of money that they can just like execute and give it to you and be like, okay, this is our investment, what's next? So that is why I think the whole story where it starts from Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, him saying that, oh, we can't run without that money, without the Gulf sovereign wealth fund money, without the Gulf capital. I think it makes sense in his brain, but I don't think the wording, what he used, was completely at any point, like even 0.01% right. This is not how you raise money. You raise money like Sam Altman. You come to Abu Dhabi, you keep coming to Abu Dhabi.
But you know what it
you raise
is,
money
Majid?
like Elon Musk, praising people.
I don't ever think that he thought that this memo would get out.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're still right, because that is not the way for you to motivate your employees.
Not even internal communication, you shouldn't be like this, right? What if there is a Middle Eastern person actually working in your company, right?
Sometimes I do believe that biases do naturally exist in people, but I think that it comes with a sense of awareness that this bias that I have is wrong, and that is something I am not allowed to ever express, to ever say. And when I take a look at this story about Anthropic, it is exactly the reason why we need to support regional entrepreneurs more. And just off the top of my head, I can think of Firas Al-Jalbout, who is basically the founder of Baraka. It's an investment trading platform, and they even have an artificial intelligent assistant. I can also think of the founder of Terjama. Her name is Noor Al-Hassan, and she's Jordanian. And basically, they provide Arabic language services, and they integrate AI in it. Again, I can think of Hussam Arab, the founder of Tabi. Yeah. Another person I can think of is Amjad Masad, the founder of Replit, who it's basically a software that you can use to make absolutely any app. And I know that you're thinking, why am I mentioning all of those people? Not to make it political, but if you want to empower a society, you need to ensure that the people within it are making regional products that can empower the economy. Yeah. There's this book, it's called The Wealth of Nations by someone called Adam Smith. And Adam
Smith is a Nobel Prize winner.
He also discussed how it is completely impossible to wipe out a society that has entrepreneurs that are rising, that are creating products for the region. Yeah. Another person, George Orwell, in The Parallels, he also refers to this. And these group of people, they are so important because they give societies in the Middle East more hope. These Palestinian entrepreneurs, we need to empower them more because they are that hope for their community. Yeah. And that's why it's so important for us to support their products, for us to spread awareness about them, and for us to use them because more will come.
Yeah, Adam Smith, you talked about, very big guy. He's called the father of economics, by the way. Very interesting. I know him. Funnily, I didn't know about him because I didn't study economics a lot, basic courses. I know about him because of a movie called Beautiful Minds. So because of that, I know this guy that, he won. And the character in that is also, it's based on a real life story. The character in that is also a Nobel Prize winner in physics. So both of them won. So Adam Smith gave a theory and then the other guy negated it. Like, oh no, there is a caveat, there is something that can be done apart from his theory. A very interesting outlook from Word that, the local entrepreneurs, they should be highlighted, one. And also, local entrepreneurs should start investing and making startups which actually matter. And I think we shared a clip of Fadi Gandoor, or where he said that copying is not a problem. Localizing any startup that's already big in the world, it's not considered copying, it's considered innovation.
But he even said something even better, and it's so disappointing that we see this until now, that even if a founder, an entrepreneur from the Middle East does create a great product, they're not even considered great globally just because they're not operating in Silicon Valley, they're not operating in New York. And he posed this interesting point of, for example, any company, if that company does not operate, say for example Apple, right now they still have not opened in Saudi Arabia their flagship stores, or in Egypt the stores that they've announced. They haven't opened them. But no one will ever come and say that Apple is a company that is not global and not worth it just because it does not operate in Saudi Arabia or Egypt yet. But then you have all of these Arab companies, and just because they don't operate in America, they're not considered talented, and for all of the success that they've achieved. And I think this brings me to my point of, just back to what Adam Smith said. Maybe he did not speak about this example specifically, but the reason why Israel is winning economically is because it has so many budding founders. It has people like Adam Newman. It has people like the co-founder of OpenAI, Ilya. I'm not sure if Dario from Anthropic is Israeli, but they have this budding artificial intelligence economy. Like, for example, the company Wiz is called Wiz, right? So Wiz, Alphabet, Google's parent company, had bought it for over $30 billion in cash. It is because of those entrepreneurs this. This is the reason why people keep working with Israel, because of how strong its economy is. So if we have all of these Palestinian founders that are doing so great for themselves and doing great for Palestine, it will be, and it's so unfortunate to say this, but it will be harder for superpowers to take them out, because then there would be a benefit for them.
If you talk about Palestine, they don't have the environment. With Israel, it's very simple. I remember the last budget when it came, I was reading some numbers, and one of them was very interesting in this perspective that their cybersecurity and their tech startups and industry as a whole contributes nearly like 5 or 10%, nearly 5 to 10% to their actual GDP. It's a very big amount. Just consider that our non-oil economy yesterday, the UAE non-oil economy numbers came out. They were 26% of the whole GDP. So imagine 26% is non-oil economy, and just the tech part and the cybersecurity part of Israel is nearly 10% of their GDP. So it's actual government supported also. But the problem with Palestine is they're never allowed to do anything. We also have Tech for Palestine, the guy we interviewed, completely forgot his name, but I will remember it. But he's doing it. He's helping Palestinian startups come out. There's a lot. The other day I sent it to Earth. I don't remember. There's only one venture capital company in the whole of Palestine. So if you actually have a startup, there's only one company that can give you the funds. To be honest, the whole infrastructure around building startups in Palestine is in shambles right now because of the genocide that is being carried out. But yeah, coming back to Anthropic, I just randomly came up with this idea that we should look at their higher ups. Like if anyone in their higher hierarchy, in the higher positions, is anyone remotely related to the Arab region, there's only one person. There's a lady called Yasmin. Wait, sorry. I scrolled up a little. Yasmin Razavi, she's Iranian. She has Iranian descent, but she's lived all her life in US in the past 20, 30 years. But she was born and grew up a little bit in Iran, and she is Iranian through heritage and nationality. So I think she could have easily be like, bro, what are you saying? She could have easily called him out. And I think a lot of the leakages that we've always talked about with these big companies, it comes from the people who are actual Middle Eastern, because they see the things that their companies are doing and they're like, we need to do something, and they find a person and give them, see, this is happening within our internal communication.
With that, because the sentiment is changing, and we saw this with Microsoft. So there's a group of people, their name is No Azure for Apartheid. They're basically former Microsoft employees that are still currently protesting against how allegedly, according to the AP, Microsoft supplied weaponry to Israel, but the point, software. Sorry, they supplied software to Israel, and basically, by the way, members of that organization, yes, you have Moroccans, you have Egyptians, you have South Asians. So it's a sign that the world is really waking up. That the person in the room standing up against what's wrong now, it's not just going to be an Arab. You know, it's going to be a Westerner, it's going to be a South Asian, and I think that's a change that we are seeing.
Very important. I think even if someone can convey this message to the Anthropic CEO, one, you don't raise money like this by calling them dictators, bad people, all these things. You actually have to say good things. It's a very common tactic in negotiation. That's the first thing. Second thing, if you're raising money from the region, stop calling it a bad region, because if they were bad, they wouldn't be sitting on this much wealth. And it's not just wealth from oil and everything, it's wealth from their diversification strategies, their trade strategies, how they uphold the economy, how they make it better. Whatever they're doing for the country, that is why the Middle Eastern region is coming up, because you have safety and security in UAE, you have so many things in the region. That is why it is going up. It's not just because there are dictators here. You have to realize that.
But you know, Majid, honestly, like, I'm so glad that this leaked memo came out, because if you think about it, like, you know, these Gulf investors, they're dodging a bullet. You know, I wish they could have known more about Builder AI when, you know, it just completely went bankrupt. And then you had Qatar Investment Authority, who gave them over $200 million for them to say they're a unicorn. And to just completely, we don't know what's going on right now. The website is active again, but this is just this is honestly, this is God's work. Now investors know maybe we shouldn't invest in Anthropic. And moving on to our next topic of
The
today.
next story is actually connected to this story because
Yeah.
it's again having people from the region sit in positions where decisions are being taken.
And that's so important.
Yeah, and PwC has appointed Riyadh Al-Najjar, its Saudi Arabia country senior partner and Middle East chairman, to the firm's global board now. And this strategic move follows a major setback in Saudi Arabia, where the Public Investment Fund imposed a one-year ban on PwC's new advisory contracts effective until February 2026.
So the ban came after PwC tried to hire NEOM's Chief Internal Audit Officer, Jason Davies, causing friction within PIF, according to the Financial Times. So although audit work remains unaffected, the suspension disrupted PwC's consulting operations in the kingdom and intensified competition for regional talent.
And PwC has been aggressively expanding in the Middle East. Sales in the region rose 26% in the year to June 2024, making up nearly a third of its combined UK and Middle East revenue of about $7.8 billion. The firm's regional growth remains significant despite challenges.
So, according to Intelligence Online, PwC hired more than 60 professionals, including 4 partners from Deloitte's Dubai forensic team in late 2024. Now, these recruitment moves sparked scrutiny and internal tensions, but reflect PwC's bid to position itself amid the fierce talent wars that are currently in the Gulf.
Yeah.
But more so, it has a habit of trying to poach people from companies that are very close to it. Now, I think it's very important that they have someone like Riyadh, who's going to sit in the global board. This is, someone who is actually from the region to lead the region. And I think you're completely right, Majid. I really do think what happened to PwC, its entire ban, it did demotivate young people in the sense of, is the dream now still working for a big 4 firm?
Yeah, it's not. Now they've realized that they have local people, local companies, especially in the Middle East. Saudi Arabian companies are growing big, so you can go there. See, the idea of working for Big 4 was not that, it's a big company and a big name will come on my resume.
Yeah.
It's more also that, there is growth. One, there's starting salaries are good. Very basic ideas. Starting salaries are good. There's yearly audits. You get a chance at appraisals if you're doing good. All these things come with a corporate good system and structure. We also have it at Augustus Media. So it comes with that. That is why people wanted to go to Big 4, because there were systems in place for growth,
There was money in place.
Money in place. Everything was there. So it was a complete package. Now they've realized that local companies, which were born out of Saudi Arabia, UAE, they are also, Qatar even, they are also doing the same things. They have the same systems in place. They have promotions, growth opportunities, training opportunities, learning opportunities. Everything is there. So why not work for a local company? Why choose the Big 4? So that idea is being brought into the minds of the young people, and they've realized this, that better opportunity with better local companies.
But you know, Majid, honestly, like according to everything that I saw that the Financial Times had written, honestly, PwC did play very dirty, because this guy over here that we just mentioned, James Davies, the former chief internal audit officer of NEOM that PwC, according to the FT, tried to hire. This guy, by the way, has been working with NEOM since 2020. Since 2020, this guy has been with them for over 4 years. And PwC itself is a client of NEOM. So why would you try to hire one of their audit officers, bring them into your corporate rooms, and then have them advise NEOM from your office? That does not make sense. That makes absolutely no sense.
I'll tell you, it's not just them. There's a lot of industries where this happens actually. One of the industries that I've seen very closely is media buying and selling and PR and marketing companies. So, for example, there's a PR company. It has 10 clients. One person is the POC for 3 clients.
Yeah.
Usually, if they're very good, the client poaches them. The client is like, you come work for me only, leave the other 2. So this happens across industries. I think it's not a bad practice. It's just that it looks bad on paper. that, oh, you're working for them, so maybe you started buttering them up. So, oh, see, I am the one doing it. It's not the company. And then eventually you move.
Yeah. By the way,
it's a money move.
James Davies on his LinkedIn right now did stop working for NEOM September of 2024. The news broke out about the entire ban in February of 2025 this year, and right now he is open to work. He is open to work. So
okay,
this poor man, now he doesn't even have a job at NEOM, and he doesn't even have a job at PwC. And this is why I always say karma in the corporate world is real.
You can't completely blame him, and you can't
I
completely blame PwC. You don't know. The actual story can be maybe
I think
PwC.
I can't completely blame PwC here.
Maybe PwC approached him. Maybe he approached PwC. We don't know the internal workings of this whole conspiracy, right? But the idea is that they wanted to work together. Obviously, they tried to ask him to come, and he had 1%.
He ended up with nothing.
Yeah, so it's important that you play your cards well in the corporate environment, because if you leave for a place and in the first 2-3 months, what they thought of you will happen when they bring you in doesn't happen. You lose the last company and then you lose this company, because probation, even at the highest level, probations are there. 3 months, 6 months probations are there. Even if you're hired as general manager, there is a probation in place. Maybe it's 1 year, maybe it's 6 months, but probations are always in place. So they can fire you without even giving you a reason. It can just simply be, sorry, you are not doing good enough. And thank you very much. 10 days, wrap up, and bye-bye. So it's just a lesson in corporate moves. You have to be very calculative. Where you're going, is the environment going to be the same? Are you going to move and have money? And is that money enough that within the 6 months that you get paid for like 2 years? So even if they fire you, you're surviving for it's very complicated. It's a very difficult decision to take. But coming back to the idea of poaching people, and coming back to the idea of the whole thing, the main important point throughout this story, the PwC story, is that local talent, local people, local representatives are now needed in all global companies.
Yeah.
You can't just sit on some global European Western guy thinking that he knows everything about the region. You have to bring in local expertise. If you don't, this will happen. And it will keep happening till you bring in local expertise. People who understand the culture, the art of negotiation of that specific region.
Yeah, I completely see what you're saying. And right now, what's going on with local talent, local influencers in the UAE, is that they have to get a mandatory advertiser permit. Now, the UAE Media Council has instilled this for all content creators that are involved in digital advertising. So the permit will become compulsory in 3 months, requiring creators to obtain approval before publishing ads to enhance transparency and trust in the digital space in the UAE.
And the permit is free for the first 3 years and exempts creators promoting their own products or companies. So if you as a creator are selling your editing services, no problem, you can do it. But if you're selling someone else's software, you will have to get this permit. Also, it's for individuals under 18 producing non-commercial, educational, athletic, cultural, or awareness content. This initiative supports the UAE's goal to become a global hub for content creation. And I think with greater policy and clearer rules, they can do it.
Yeah, for sure. And under the new rules, all advertisements must be published through registered accounts, and the permit number must be displayed on creators' profiles. Importantly, third-party advertising on registered creators' accounts will no longer be allowed, so strengthening regulatory oversight.
And these measures aim to encourage innovation and investment in digital media while safeguarding consumers and advertisers alike. The UAE continues to set a standard for responsible content creation, balancing regulation with creative freedom in a rapidly evolving industry. And it's very important, I think. I think it's very confusing for a lot of people.
Do you think it's fair?
It's fair to an extent, because see, there's so many scams that happen online. Sorry, again, coming back to an example from Pakistan. Recently, I think last year, a lot of influencers in Pakistan, they were promoting a product, and they all found out after doing the campaigns, after raking in so much money, that it was a Ponzi scheme. So I know that example because a lot of my friends who were doing it, they got a lot of money, but the people who lost the money were normal people who were
Yeah.
following them. So responsibility comes with you having a presence online. And I think if you're doing something, and it's for paid and unpaid both, the permit. If you're doing a paid campaign, you have to have a permit number. And it's free for 3 years. And I think after the 3 years, you'll just renew it. It's like there's a lot of things in UAE that come without a fee. If you're a non-Muslim and you have like you drink and you want to buy alcohol, the permit is free of cost. You just have to register yourself
Right.
the funny thing about it is, I was told this and I went on and researched on it. They actually don't want to see who's buying it. They actually want to control the limit of people. So when you
I
make a
see.
license actually on DXB, the whole thing, you go and you see that whatever you buy, you have to show your license, right? And when you show your license, it shows you that this is your limit. This is the amount that you can buy. So you can't go over limit. So they actually control the amount that you're having. So it's kind of a good initiative from their side
Yeah.
for Westerners that don't go overboard, don't drink too much.
No, but
so
I
it's
think-
responsibility.
I think with the case of influencers here, the fact that they're getting them to get these licenses the
Yeah.
same way if you own a business in the UAE, you have to get a trade license. I think what it's signaling to me is that being an influencer has become a business,
Yeah.
and not just that. With this entire permit thing, if you actually think about it, the people who are part of UAE Media Council, they're going to know every single creator that does exist in their
Yeah.
creator economy. They're going to be completely aware of them, and I think that's even
They
more
can be
great
used
because
for government services, right?
exactly that's what
Yeah.
I'm the same way that Anas Bukhash,
Yeah.
the famous podcaster,
He was
was
the-
actually used to market this entire new permit. But
Yeah.
it's
I
kind of
really
like
like the idea,
Yeah.
Usually you see ads which are graphic full or numbers or this. They actually took a creator to
Yeah.
make the ad, right?
But you know what I
So
also
it's
think
nice.
it is, Majid? I think that this is really going to add more transparency in the sense, like, I'll give
Yeah.
you an example. There is this famous influencer, some would call her a life coach. She's called the Wizard Liz, and she's always giving motivational speeches. She's actually pretty famous, by the way, and she lives in Dubai.
Nice.
But no one knows this. No one knows this. And imagine for her, she's going to have to come out of her little shell and make the permit. And then now they know,
Yeah.
this is somebody that we can have be a part of all of our events.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example. Ali Abdul, that famous, I believe he's Pakistani. He went to Cambridge University. Again, he's another life coach. He has a very big YouTube following, and he's famous. He's always visiting the UAE and Dubai. I follow him on Instagram.
Nice.
I feel that through this permit, these are the kind of characters that can be discovered. These are the kind of characters that can be invited into the UAE to get that golden visa that you can get if you're an
Nice.
influencer. So I think, we're going to see how this progresses more.
Yeah, so you have 3 months. It will be enforced after 3 months. I remember recently there was a Finfluencer permit that also came out that if you're a financial influencer, you have to get that permit. So it's very important that you're telling people to buy this crypto or buy that stock. You should have a permit. Again, it's all safety for the people who are actually your followers. Because if I follow someone religiously and I see that this guy, whenever he says something, it happens, I will start trusting his advice. And maybe I'll throw my money into something that will make me lose my money. By the way, talking about money, yesterday, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, all their earnings reports came out and the stock market shooted. It was a really nice day for the stock market. The Fed has not changed the rate. Just giving you this hint because I want to tell you that UAE usually, they also have their interest rates combined with Fed, US Federal Board. So yeah, your interest rates are not changing in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
In the UAE also, because we always follow the US Fed. So just small tidbit. Not financial advice, but yeah, this is happening. Apart from that, there's obviously earnings season. So we pick and choose. We don't do all the earnings because there's like 10, 15 coming every day. But we chose one. We did Bengati also recently. Their earnings were good. So another one that we're doing is Muhammad Al-Appar, founder of Emaar. founder of Eagle Hills, the real estate ventures, and also the chair of Americana Restaurants Group, the MENA franchise for KFC, Pizza Hut, and a lot of other brands. They've reported a 16% rise in net income to $92.5 million for the first half of 2025, despite an $8.2 million tax hit from new regulations.
That is insane.
Yeah, so they paid $8.2 million in tax, but still, they jumped up their net income. Good for them. The revenue increased 15% to $640 million, and it was boosted by Ramadan sales.
And the company expanded aggressively, opening 36 new stores and acquiring 46 Pizza Hut restaurants in Amman during the first 6 months. So Americana now operates 2,638 outlets across 12 countries, including brands like Hardee's, Krispy Kreme, Costa Coffee, and Baskin-Robbins.
So a lot of these brands, just before I move on, we've been talking about it so much that whenever you actually go on and stop buying these, saying, oh, these are American brands and Israeli brands and this brand and that brand, they're actually affecting the business owners here. And we'll talk about it more, but yeah, all these brands are owned by Americana, the franchises. The companies themselves don't work here. They sell franchises and Americana buys it and then runs it. So the money actually comes to the UAE. So Americana said it maintains a strong balance sheet with no leverage and healthy cash reserves. The firm's shares closed nearly 2% higher on the Saudi exchange at Saudi Riyal 2.25, though they remain down 30% year to date amid broader market pressures.
And Adeptio Ad Investments, co-owned by UAE's Mohammed Al-Abbar and Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, holds a 66% stake in Americana. So the company is also reportedly in talks to buy a stake in Dubai-based Cravia, signaling plans for further regional growth.
Yeah. So boycotting these brands, it's important, but if you just have to do a little research. I think in the recent times, we've seen everyone just boycotting everything. You see a name, you're like, I think you have to go deeper and do a little research. I think Boycott app is very good in this. There's this app. It was started under Tech for Palestine initiative. It's by a Middle Eastern guy who started this app. The app actually shows you go take the app and scan a product. So it will show you the relation of that product with Israel or America. It won't say, oh, Israeli-American product. It will give you a scale. So if some product is very distantly related, they will tell you. The app tells you. So if some product is directly American, directly supports genocide, they give you a whole case study with it. Like, okay, this app, this guy did this from this company, this thing. So I think start using that. And boycott responsibly also.
Yeah.
Because eventually the people who have invested in franchises are local people. They are trying to do business. People in those companies, in those restaurants, are people who are living in the Middle East. They make a living out of that.
Yeah.
So they also get affected.
They do.
I think boycotting responsibly is very important.
And that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our 2.5 million monthly listeners. We're going up, we're going up. Make us go to 10 directly. With all your help, we would love to do that, and we would love to reach all the people that we can to send a message that we're doing good in the Middle East. And we need local expertise. We are trying to also somehow give you the local angles, the local stories, so you guys can know what's happening in the region. So if you're one of them who's doing all this for us, sharing our content, sharing our show, sharing any message that we've given throughout the show, thank you so much. We appreciate you. See you on Friday, the last day of the weekday, and then we'll take a 2-day break. Very happy to see Friday coming. Bye-bye.